What if the truth isn't that men over 40 can't find love, but that they've finally stopped chasing what doesn't bring them peace? For decades, we've been told that being single at this age means something went wrong. That if a man isn't in a long-term partnership by midlife, he's unfulfilled, emotionally unavailable, or afraid of commitment. But what if that narrative is completely backwards? What if what looks like solitude from the outside is actually freedom on the inside? Because more and more men are realizing something profound. The greatest luxury in modern life isn't romance, it's peace. This isn't about bitterness, loneliness, or giving up on love. It's about awakening, a quiet, grounded awareness that comes after years of doing everything right. Getting the job, building the house, providing, caring, trying, and yet, still feeling the weight of chaos that modern relationships can bring. The constant emotional negotiations, the subtle manipulations, the loss of self that hides beneath the word compromise. So, what happens when a man finally looks around his carefully built life and asks the question, what if peace is the thing I've been searching for all along? For most men, the first 40 years are spent chasing what they were told would make them whole. Study hard, work harder, make money, find love, build stability. It's a script handed down from fathers, culture, movies, and mentors, and it works for a while. Until one day, he's sitting in his quiet home, surrounded by everything he's earned, and realizes that the noise he's missing isn't loneliness. It's peace. Because after decades of building, proving, and surviving, something shifts. The drive to conquer transforms into the desire to simply be. For the first time, many men are no longer trying to prove their worth to anyone. Not to bosses, not to partners, not even to themselves. They're not chasing validation. They're protecting serenity. And that choice is radical. These men aren't angry. They're not retreating. They're not broken. They've simply learned through experience that peace has a price, and they're finally unwilling to pay it with their sanity. They've been through the sleepless nights after arguments that solved nothing. They've been through the financial shockwaves of divorce, the emotional exhaustion of always fixing things, the heavy quiet of being misunderstood in their own home. And somewhere in the aftermath, they discovered something powerful. Being alone is easier than being constantly misunderstood. They realized that love without peace isn't love. It's tension disguised as passion. A man in his 40s doesn't fear connection. He fears chaos. He's learned what it costs to invite the wrong energy into his life, how quickly comfort turns into conflict, how easily stability turns into performance. So when he chooses solitude, it's not isolation. It's discernment. He's not avoiding women. He's avoiding exhaustion. He's not running from love. He's running toward a version of life that finally feels calm. Think of it like this: in his 20s, he wanted intensity. In his 30s, he wanted achievement. In his 40s, he wants quiet truth. And that's the shift society doesn't understand. Because for the first time, peace isn't something he experiences in between relationships. It's something he builds instead of them. Look closer at these men and you'll see something society rarely shows. They wake up early, not for a job but for themselves. They have morning routines that no longer revolve around pleasing anyone else. They drink their coffee in silence, not scrolling, not texting, just breathing. Their homes aren't empty, they're organized sanctuaries. There's a stillness that no argument, no drama, no endless explaining can interrupt. And once a man tastes that kind of peace, it's nearly impossible to trade it for uncertainty again. That's why, when you ask him why he's single, he smiles instead of apologizing. He's not missing anything. He's finally found something. This movement isn't about rejecting women or relationships. It's about rejecting imbalance. It's about men finally recognizing that love without mutual peace is just disguised dependency. It's about a new definition of success, one that's not measured in marital status, but in mental stillness. One that values authenticity over approval. One that sees solitude not as emptiness, but as strength. Because the truth is, most men aren't afraid of commitment. They're afraid of losing themselves again. So when you see a man over 40 choosing peace over partnership, don't mistake it for loneliness. It's not absence, it's abundance. It's the reward that comes after years of emotional labor, societal pressure, and personal growth. It's the realization that peace isn't something you stumble into, it's something you defend. And maybe, just maybe, it's time the world stops seeing single men as broken and starts seeing them as free. There's a moment that arrives quietly in a man's life, not with a midlife crisis, but with midlife clarity. He looks around and realizes he has survived enough storms to know the value of calm seas. The peace he protects now isn't laziness, it's wisdom. And that wisdom was paid for with decades of work, stress, and heartbreak. Many men over 40 aren't avoiding relationships. They're avoiding the wrong ones. They've learned that love without peace costs too much. And the first price they're no longer willing to pay is financial security, because they know exactly what it took to build it. After 20 or 30 years of work, discipline, and sacrifice, he's finally achieved stability. He's survived market crashes, job losses, betrayals, maybe even a divorce that tore through his savings like wildfire. He's not bitter, he's aware. He knows that financial security is more than numbers in a bank account. It's freedom. It's the ability to sleep at night without wondering what will collapse next. It's the quiet comfort of knowing that the life he built won't be undone by someone else's recklessness. And that's why, when it comes to new relationships, he moves differently. Not because he's stingy or selfish, but because he knows how fragile peace can be once it's shared with the wrong person. He's not guarding money. He's guarding the years of emotional labor that money represents. Many men who went through divorce know this firsthand. They've seen what happens when what was once ours turns into mine and yours. They've watched retirement plans evaporate, homes split, and savings drained in the name of fairness. They've lived through it, the slow rebuilding, the financial restart, the pressure of beginning again while pretending not to feel broken. So now, they protect what they've rebuilt the same way survivors protect their scars. With caution, with respect, with boundaries. It's not cynicism. It's realism. When you've spent half your life earning peace, you don't hand it over to anyone who doesn't value it. But beyond money, there's something deeper that men over 40 defend even more fiercely. Their inner calm. Because by this stage, they've learned that peace isn't found in quiet rooms. It's built through difficult choices. The saying no to chaos, no to constant emotional labor, no to arguments that drain the soul. For many, the home they have now is sacred. It's not just walls and furniture. It's a reflection of who they've become. Every object in it was chosen, every routine refined. The way sunlight falls in the morning, the smell of coffee, the silence of a Sunday afternoon. All of it forms a rhythm that finally feels like life on their terms. And that rhythm is fragile. Introducing someone new means introducing new moods, new expectations, new energy. And for a man who's finally built serenity, that feels like gambling with his sanity. He remembers the years of walking on eggshells, of deciphering words that didn't match actions, of apologizing for wanting space, peace, or quiet. He remembers the weight of emotional labor, managing not only his own feelings, but someone else's. The exhausting mental checklist. Did I say the right thing? Did I do enough? Why is she distant again? That was his normal once, but not anymore. Now, he understands that love without emotional balance isn't love. It's caretaking. It's one person constantly pouring while the other keeps taking. So when people say, he's too independent, they miss the truth. He's not avoiding love. He's protecting his mental health. Because peace, once earned, becomes priceless. Psychologists call this self-preservation. He calls it freedom. His solitude isn't loneliness. It's equilibrium. He's not seeking validation. He's seeking stability. And ironically, that's what makes him more emotionally mature than ever before. This is the part of manhood no one teaches. The art of saying, I don't need more people. I need more peace. For men over 40, choosing peace isn't a rejection of intimacy. It's a redefinition of it. It's realizing that connection without calm is chaos. That partnership without mutual respect is captivity. That love without self-respect is just noise. He doesn't need drama to feel alive anymore. He's lived enough life to know that quiet is the loudest form of happiness there is. Freedom. That's the word that keeps coming up when men over 40 talk about why they've chosen solitude over constant compromise. But it's not the kind of freedom people imagine. Wild parties, endless travel, reckless spontaneity. It's quieter, more deliberate. It's the freedom to breathe without explaining, to rest without guilt, to live without walking on eggshells. After decades of being providers, fixers, and protectors, these men are learning something society never taught them. They don't have to earn their peace. They only have to stop giving it away. In their 20s, freedom meant escape. In their 30s, it meant ambition. But in their 40s, freedom means authenticity. It's the ability to be your unfiltered self, without apology or negotiation. To not have to pretend to be stronger than you feel or quieter than you are. To not constantly shrink or stretch your personality to make someone else comfortable. For years, he was told that compromise was the key to love. But no one warned him that too much compromise turns into erasure. That if you bend too far for too long, you eventually forget what shape you were before. Now he remembers, and he's protecting that shape fiercely. A man in his 40s has learned to value time differently. He knows that every hour spent in unnecessary conflict is an hour stolen from something sacred. His craft, his hobbies, his health, his peace. So when he chooses solitude, it's not a retreat. It's an investment. He wakes up and decides what his day looks like. No debates, no guilt. He goes hiking, reads, works out, tinkers in the garage, cooks for himself, or takes long drives just because he can. He answers to no one, and that independence, that autonomy, feels like oxygen. He's not rejecting companionship. He's just not desperate for it. Because he's discovered something deeper than romance, self-trust. He trusts himself to create joy, to find meaning, to handle his emotions. He's no longer looking for someone to fix the emptiness inside, because there's no emptiness left to fix. Psychologists call this stage self-actualization. But for him, it's simpler. It's peace earned through survival. He's not chasing intensity anymore, he's chasing alignment. He wants relationships that fit naturally, not ones that require constant fixing. He wants connection that adds to his calm, not steals from it. And because of that, he's become more selective, not out of arrogance, but out of wisdom. He knows that not every spark is worth the burn. He knows that a partner's beauty means nothing if her energy is chaos. He knows that emotional intelligence, communication, and maturity are the new kind of attraction, the kind that lasts longer than chemistry. Society used to tell him he was supposed to build a life with someone. Now he realizes the truth. He has to build a life he's proud of, with or without someone. And if someone fits naturally into that, beautiful. But if not, he'll still be whole. Because he's done trading his peace for potential. Done being the emotional safety net for people who haven't learned to hold themselves. Done being told that solitude is failure, when in reality it's mastery. He's not lonely, he's aligned. He's not isolated, he's independent. He's not avoiding love, he's waiting for love that feels like home, not work. The world doesn't always understand this kind of man. People call him detached, cold, or hard to reach. But if they could see what his peace cost him, they'd understand why he protects it like treasure. He's not bitter. He's grateful. Grateful for the lessons that pain gave him. Grateful that he's no longer controlled by the need to be needed. Grateful that, for the first time in his life, he feels whole standing alone. Because true freedom isn't about escaping responsibility. It's about escaping the noise. It's about finally understanding that life isn't about finding someone to share your chaos with. It's about learning to live in calm and refusing to trade it away. And that's why, when you see a man over 40 sitting quietly, smiling to himself, not chasing, not performing, don't mistake that silence for emptiness. It's not emptiness. It's arrival. There comes a point when a man stops searching for what's missing and starts protecting what he's found. Peace. Not the fragile kind that depends on circumstances, but the steady kind that lives inside him now. The kind built through decades of learning, losing, rebuilding, and realizing that the most important relationship he'll ever have is with his own mind. Because by 40, 50, or beyond, a man has seen enough to know. Not everything that looks like love is peace, and not everything that feels peaceful is love. He's learned to tell the difference. What he wants now is simple, not easy, not shallow, but simple. He wants calm energy. He wants honesty that doesn't have to be decoded. He wants affection that doesn't come with conditions. He wants connection that feels like rest, not recovery. And if he can't have that, he's no longer afraid to walk alone. Once upon a time, silence scared him. Now it heals him. He used to equate solitude with emptiness. Now he sees it as space, the space where clarity grows, where truth becomes audible, where his thoughts finally stop competing for attention. He doesn't need noise to feel alive anymore. He needs meaning. For men over 40, this peace-centered life isn't resignation. It's evolution. They've spent years learning the cost of emotional chaos. Sleepless nights, anxiety, regret, endless cycles of proving their worth to people who couldn't see it. Now they choose differently. They choose mornings that start in silence. Friendships that feel light, not draining. Work that fulfills, not enslaves. And relationships, if they happen, that exist in balance, not dependence. Because at this stage, the goal is no longer to find the one. It's to be the one, complete, calm, grounded. He no longer measures love by intensity. He measures it by peace of mind. He no longer measures success by wealth. He measures it by emotional freedom. He no longer measures happiness by excitement. He measures it by stability. And when love does come, if it does, he welcomes it differently now. Not as a rescue, not as a validation, but as an addition to a life already rich with meaning. He's not looking for someone to complete him. He's looking for someone who doesn't disturb the peace he built. He's not impressed by attention. He's impressed by presence. Not drawn to drama, drawn to depth. He doesn't chase. He invites. He doesn't beg. He attracts. And that quiet confidence, the calm in his eyes, is what makes him magnetic. Because when a man no longer needs love to fill a void, his love becomes pure. This movement of men choosing peace isn't about rejecting women. It's about rejecting imbalance. It's not against connection. It's for healthier connection. It's not anti-relationship. It's for self-respect. And that's the real shift happening right now. A generation of men redefining masculinity, not as dominance, not as detachment, but as emotional sovereignty. The ability to stand alone, to feel deeply, to love wisely, and to choose peace without guilt. Because peace doesn't mean weakness. It means control. It means knowing that calm isn't the absence of love. It's the proof that love is real. So when someone asks, why are so many men over 40 single? The answer isn't loneliness. It's clarity. They've learned that peace is not something to find after love ends. It's something to demand before love begins. They've stopped begging for peace in relationships and started creating it in their own lives. And if love wants to join them there, it's welcome. But if not, they're already home. Because peace, once earned, becomes sacred. And the men who have found it will never trade it again. Not for attention, not for approval, not even for love. They've learned the quiet truth that changes everything. A peaceful man is already complete.